Hi guys, thank you for clicking play. Welcome to episode 11 of Going for Gold with Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, I said after the Barnsley game that we were potentially going to do all the new signings and then play our first match of the Premier League season. There are just so many signings that have had to break it in two. So let's welcome the new players to the Wolverhampton Wanderers squad for the season 2021-2022. Run the intro. But before we talk about the incomings, we have to talk about the players that have left us during the summer. And the first man to talk about is Oggy. Most important one, really, of the summer departures. Wasn't my choosing, as you're well aware. A work permit issue meant that we could not secure a new contract for Oggy because he had not played enough times for Norway. So he has had to leave, unfortunately. He's gone to Spartak Moscow on a free transfer. But I wish him well. 46 goals in 96 appearances, already 2 in 2 for Moscow. He will be sorely missed. One player that really didn't get an opportunity under myself as a manager was Hayden, so I've allowed him to go to Leeds United for £3.9 million. You know, he was a good utility player, but didn't really fit into my squad. Couldn't find room for him in that midfield too. Obviously, with Oliver Shenton playing so well as he did towards the end of the season, and Ajara playing quite as well as he did when I first arrived, you know, Hayden just kind of slipped down the pecking order and slipped out of it altogether. And lastly, for the big-named departures, Carlos Stamberg has gone to Stade Rennais for a season-long loan. Again, a player that was okay, but didn't really do much when he was called upon in the first team, so I've decided to let him go out on loan. We have replaced him. We have replaced Oggy and him with quite a few strikers. You'll see who they are in just a second. But because I'm a bit OCD about this sort of thing, we're going to start with goalkeeper. A new goalkeeper, Simon Mignolet, has been brought in on a free transfer from Liverpool. Now, at 33 years of age, he is a little bit past his best, perhaps, but will give significant competition to Etmov. He has been playing quite a few of the pre-season games in a view to potentially starting him in the first game of the season. But for a free transfer, 36 grand a week in wages to get a couple of seasons out of him, it was a no-brainer, really. Now, the back four has had a bit of surgery done on it. My friend GW, who hopefully is watching this, will like this next one. Luke Ayling has been brought in from Leeds United, again on a free transfer. You're going to hear that quite a lot. Good solid right back. Good competition for Darnell Fisher. The guy whose name I couldn't pronounce has gone back to West Ham. Didn't fancy having him back for a second season, particularly with the Premier League. Leeds were in the Premier League last season. They were relegated. So I've snapped up Luke Ayling on a freebie. Again, another one that was pretty much of a no-brainer. Moving across to centre-back, where we've got two new additions. Firstly is Alfie Mawson. Now, this one was a bit controversial. We did hope to sign James Tarkowski from West Bromwich Albion. Boo, I know. But he decided to go to Southampton. So I was scratching my head. I needed a player who had Premier League experience, really. And Alfie Mawson fits that bill quite nicely. He's only a 2-star player, however. But he's 27. Good attributes. Again, pace is probably the worst one out of the physical ones, and acceleration. He's not going to be that quick over the ground. But he does have Premier League experience. Add him to Michael Morrison and Jason McCarthy, and we're okay for centre-halves, most certainly. If you add in Adam Webster, that is. Now, those who remember the January transfer window just gone, I was chasing Adam Webster quite hard towards the end of it. Ipswich wanted to sign a replacement, so didn't release him in the end. I have gone back to get my man, because I like this lad. I think he's going to be a great addition to the squad. Pace is 16, which stands out. Strength of 16. He will not be bullied in that back four position. As I mentioned, for Alfie Mawson, obviously we've got Michael Morrison, we've got Jason McCarthy and Alfie Mawson as well, obviously. So we've got 4 strong centre-backs to compete for 2 spots. Moving across to left back, and the most expensive signing of the summer, believe it or not, Luis Olivero has been bought in from Lanús. We've needed a left back. Patrick van Aanholt is okay. Denane is okay. This kid could be the business. Potentially a 4-star player. Lots of good attributes there. You know, he's able to cross the ball. Decision making is good, which I like. And he will compete with Patrick van Aanholt for the starting spot in the first team. It's a good addition to the squad. Another one that just ticks another box, really. Moving forward into midfield, where we find James McCarthy. Now, I know we've already got Jason, but we've added James to the mix just to try and mix things up a little bit. A free transfer from Everton, which I think was a bit of a steal, really. You know, lots of Premier League experience, 153 appearances for Everton, a few for Wigan as well in the Premier League. Ball-winning midfielder, which is something we desperately needed, and, you know, good technical stats, a couple of good mental ones, a couple of good physical ones as well. Someone to lead in the middle of the park, alongside Ajara, alongside Connor Cody, people like that. And this next fella. Because Oliver Shenton is back. I ummed and ahed about this one. I thought, should we try and find someone better? And I thought, do you know what? He's actually pretty good. A 3.5-star potential ability, current ability 3-star. Did the business in the Championship last year. Can he step up to the Premier League? Let's wait and see, but I'm hoping so. Speaking of players who have been brought back for a second season, Mason Mount is back as well. Again, another one that was kind of like it was a bit of a no-brainer, really. 4-star player, potential to be 4.5-star, will compete with Izzy Brown for the role behind the striker. Did it pretty well last year, in fairness to him. Will he make the step up to the Premier League? You know, he comes from Chelsea, so he has a pedigree. Will he prove that potentially? We'll have to wait and see. It's certainly one to keep your eye on. And lastly, for the midfield department at least, is Bradley Dack. Now, a lot of people will scratch their heads over this one. 2.5-star player. Why? Why bring in someone like this? I admire Bradley Dack. I think he's a really good player. He's from a local club, Gillingham, just over the water to me here. And I've followed his career quite closely in the last 2 years. He's doing really well at Blackburn in real life. And I've always wanted to sign him on Football Manager. So you know when you get one of those scenarios and you go, right, well, he's become available. Let's sign him. We did look at a couple of others. We had a Benfica guy, but we ran out of time to bring him in on loan. He was a deadline day. Not panic buy, but someone that I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how he copes with the Premier League. So only a couple left to do after this one. We're almost there, don't worry. So Jordan Hugill has been bought in from Preston North End. They have played in the Premier League on my version of Football Manager at least. And I've always admired Jordan Hugill. It's a pity that he went to West Ham, because as a Spurs fan he is now dead to me, unfortunately. But finishing of 14, acceleration of 14, pace of 14 for a 6-footer. He's quite quick over the ground, which is good. Determination, work rate 16 and 17 respectively. This is Carlos Stamberg's replacement essentially, and it's pretty much like for like, but I think Jordan's just a little bit ahead of Carlos. Looking at our penultimate signing of the summer now, and it's Diafra Sakho on a free transfer. Finishing at 17, that's one that just leapt out at me. I was like, he might not be very good elsewhere, but if he can stick the ball in the net, then we're halfway there. Oggy's replacement, essentially. We have got someone else, but I think Diafra Sakho is the closest thing that we've got to Oggy. He's an advanced forward, which I like. I like to play with one. I have been doing it, even though they weren't suited to the role that well. So I'm excited by this one. 3.5-star player, 31, in the prime of his career, has Premier League experience with West Ham, with Brighton. So, you know, it was worth taking a punt for nothing, really. And as I said, we've had a lot of freebies this summer, and this one is one that I'm more excited about than most. And last but not least, we have Maximilo Gomez, 4-star player, £6.75 million from Wolfsburg. This is the ace in the hole, essentially, for us. You know, he's 24 years of age, finishing a 15, a complete forward, so something a little bit different to what I usually play. But if we are going to go with 2 strikers as opposed to 1, obviously you've got people like Jordan Hugill, Dominic Solanke, who can play alongside him. He can play the role behind the striker as well, so we have that option if we want to stick him out on the wing. He's got a bit of pace about him, strength which is quite good, and his stats are pretty okay. You know, there's a couple that could do with a bit of improving, but on the whole and on the majority, he's a very good player, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. So previewing next time around, we have played pre-season, unbeaten through pre-season. We haven't, other than Roma, we haven't pulled up any trees in terms of who we've played, but it was all about getting the squad ready as pre-season is. So your first match live this season will be Middlesbrough at home, which will be out on Sunday as per usual, because it's Wednesdays and Sundays obviously with me, and we don't change that for anybody. So there you go, 12 additions to the squad going into the new season. Obviously Mason Mount and Oliver Shenton were here last year, so technically it's only 10, but 10 is enough. I've been busy, it's been a very busy summer, but I'm happy with the business we've done, because we've done good business. I think in bringing in the players that we've bought in, we've spent the majority of what we had to spend, which is always, you know, don't spend more than you can. Still a little bit left in the kitty if we have to go into the market again in January. The transfer window is now closed, so what we have we stay with until January at least. So let's get cracking. Middlesbrough coming up in the first game of the new season. You will see that in the next episode. If you've enjoyed today's video, please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and would like to do so, please click the subscribe button down in the corner. That was episode 11 of Going for Goal. Bit of admin today, but I hope you're excited by the new additions to the squad and are looking forward to the new season. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.